All right, dude. I am excited to have you on. Today I'm joined with Jaryd Bernstein. He's going to come on and talk about Mystery Ranch backpacks for this backpack series we're doing. I got to know Jaryd the last couple of months. He's kind of like a known dude. He's a good talker, so I have fun talking to him on the phone. Jaryd, how you doing? And tell me about you.
Dude, I'm good, Drew. I appreciate you reaching out. And then, like you already hit on, it's been good talking to you over the last few months for sure. Um, yeah, real quick intro. Jaryd Bernstein. I own a small rep group, Bernstein Outdoor Sales. We represent Vortex Optics, Daniel Defense, and today's topic, Mystery Ranch in Arizona, New Mexico, and parts of Nevada. So, kind of the quick down and dirty.
Yeah, and you are definitely like I just had lunch with Jay Scott, so I'm still on like cloud nine from this lunch I just had with him. But one thing he did tell me is like you need to hunt because you need to have like the respect of people, and like you are one of those dudes who I know when I talk to you, it's like, oh, you know your stuff. Like I'm not talking to you, and you're just like a guy selling Vortex. Like you understand the necessity, like understand tripods, you understand glassing because you are from Arizona, which I'm biased because I'm biased that guys from Arizona are just the best glassers, right? And I consider myself SoCal kind of part of Arizona because I have a house there and I hunt there a lot. You understand
There you go.
glassing, so I think we can talk on a lot of levels that people other people can't. So yeah, you grew up hunting,
Yeah.
right?
No, so actually, I didn't grow up hunting necessarily, and this is something that we've gone over on Jay's podcast too. I didn't hunt until I got out of the Marine Corps. Excuse me. Um, I got into the industry, and by definition, I got more onto the tactical side just because I oblawed a little bit more. And
Yep.
once I got on that side, I realized that it was just kind of it was a wiener measuring contest, and it wasn't that fun. And the
You kept
archery
losing.
hunters, yeah, yeah. We're not gonna
I'm sorry.
we're
I'm
not gonna
sorry.
do it on camera, but the archery hunters were all way cool, you know. And so a couple guys kind of took me
Yeah.
under their wing and took me out, and I absolutely fell in love with it. So that was I don't know, 12 years ago, 13 years ago, and I've been hunting very hard ever since. And yeah, you're like you said, you know, we're fortunate. We get to spend a lot of days behind a tripod out here. You know, I mean, I'm sitting looking at, I can see Unit 7 West and 7 and 9 from my house, you know. So we live in elk country and we spend a lot of days out there. So
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, we have to get out and go do some hunting. I'll be over there definitely in January for some over the counter stuff, and hopefully I'll be over there this fall to get my kid his first buck. My 10-year old, he's got a point, so should be able to draw him a tag somewhere to go hunt over there. But
sweet.
yeah, the archery thing has just taken my life over. I'm so hooked to my bows right now. Like I'm freaking shooting my bow every day. I'm doing all these archery shoots, 3D shoots. I'm pretty much only trying to draw archery tags now. I got a few rifle tags for sure. I've got a mule deer tag in Colorado, and I've got a antelope tag in Wyoming this year, and Coues deer in January in
Sweet.
Mexico. But other than that, I'm trying to focus on uh, archery. It's addicting.
Yeah, I have an a Unit 10 Arizona archery bull tag, which once Jay hears, he will probably have some
Oh,
things
dude,
to
you
say
did?
about that. But yeah, 10 will be good. 10's gonna be really good this year. Not that it's ever bad, but
Yeah, dude. So, my buddy moved to Arizona because, like, for me to draw that tag, it's just like it's 20 years. It sucks. Like, you guys, it's hard to draw a non-resident tag over there for some of those premier units. So, my buddy Vic moved over there, and within like 5 years, he drew that tag for rifle, and they found some really big bulls, and they got on a giant 7 by bull, right? And they're trying to walk my buddy into this bull, and like bottom line is like he ends up like stepping on this bull, and the bull's like 10 feet from him. Turns out the bull was blind on one side, dude. It was blind
huh.
on one side. By the time he realizes the bull's there, the bull realizes he's there. The bull gets up and takes off because he got winded. But it was like the bull could not see him because he was like, once they finally glassed him later on, it's like, oh crap, like his eye is like white, you know. But there's some big
we
bulls in
joke
10.
we joke about. No, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, there's some big bulls in 10. He refused to shoot anything smaller than like a 330 bull on the hunt, and he went home empty handed. It was a late season rifle hunt too. It's a little bit harder, but you should have some good opportunity. Are you gonna hunt on the ranch?
We'll hunt the whole unit. So we will hunt on the bow. We're not like sold on having to be on the bow. Obviously, living right here. I mean, I'm 40 minutes in a side by side to that unit from the house. So we'll have a ton of opportunity to glass it, and we'll have a plan come the first week of September. We'll have a plan, but right now I don't have a. We know the unit good enough. But I
So
mean, they
you
kill.
say,
There's dudes kill 400s in there every year, almost every year on this archery hunt.
yeah. And when you say the bow, I think it's called the Oxbow Ranch, right? Is that what it is? What's the name of the ranch?
The big bow Kias Ranch.
Big Bow BS Ranch. So a big chunk of that unit is a private ranch, but you are easily able to get access to. I think it's like $50. It's not like expensive to do it. They have like a good partnership with the state for people to access the ranch and go hunt it. You just have to go and put in for it before season, and once you draw the tag and get it. So I've never really heard of anybody not getting it. So it's a kind of a cool
No,
thing. They're
you'll
willing to
get
work with you guys.
access. Yeah, that access isn't bad. I think it's actually $80. And there's like a sign in, sign out at the cattle gate. It's like in a
Yeah,
metal box. It's not rocket science. And those guys are all cool. The cowboys are cool. Everybody's cool. So yeah, we've never had a problem on there.
that's awesome. Well, enough about you, dude. We're here to talk about
Yeah.
backpacks, dude. So, Mystery Ranch. The only thing I have from Mystery Ranch is a fanny pack, but
Okay.
I would say you guys are probably one of the biggest like backpack companies in the industry, hands down. And you guys make all kinds of stuff. I know I bought my partner a Metcalf 2 years ago, and that's a phenomenal pack. But like the Newberg runs your stuff. There's a bunch of guys who just love your guys' packs. Uh, I can say that like it's been kind of like the industry's been going like advancing further and further, and Mystery Ranch kind of really took a jump in 2024 to kind of catch up to the industry and like really like almost surpass some guys with the phenomenal backpack that you guys came out with. And that's what I want to talk about today is this new hunting backpack you guys came out with. Before we get into that, I guess let's do an origin story on Mystery Ranch, where they came from, about Mystery Ranch, and then we'll get into this badass backpack that you guys just came out with that's crushing the industry.
Yeah, for sure. We'll give you the 10,000 foot view, and happy to dive into any detail you pick up on and want to ask further. Dana Gleason was the founder. There's another partner, but Dana's kind of been the face of Mystery Ranch for a long time, and has been the face of other backpack companies that he started many years ago. Talking, back sitting on the Appalachian Trail, just learning how to fix backpacks and what wasn't working, what was working. Took all that data, started one company, ended up selling it, and always been kind of in that Bozeman, Montana area. And so he is just a very, very unique individual, and just so passionate. Like you were talking about with the glassing thing, like you can only talk on a certain level, certain people. You get that guy talking about backpacks and load carriage and weight distribution. And it is like, it's one of those things where you look at a guy and you just start respecting the living hell out of him, because you can just see there's just pure talent and pure, skill. And so he had a couple backpack companies, and then had kind of effectively semi-retired, and he got a call from some dudes in the military, believe it or not, and they were like, "Hey, we love your packs. We love the way they carry. We love everything about them. We love the organization. We love the simplicity. We love the pocketry, but we love the lack of pocketry. All the stuff." But they're like,
Mhm.
we can't get paint to stick to them, and they're too bright of colors, because he was making them for like mountaineering and hiking and
Yeah.
that type of crowd.
Lime green, turquoise.
Right, red and blue, and whatever color they happen to have that they had bought at some hiking shop somewhere, right? And so he's like, "Well, who are you?" And they're kind of, "Well, we can't tell you." And he's like, "Well, I'll make you a pack in whatever color you want." And they finally told him, and come to find out, they were some special operations guys. And so Mystery Ranch was effectively I believe it was Dana's third backpack company, and I could be wrong. It might have been the fourth, but either third or fourth. And he started it to supply those guys and to make them the pack they needed in the material they needed, right? And then of course that snowballs into IR and everything else to make those guys comfortable and to make them safe and effective and all that stuff
What
overseas.
what year is
Um,
this?
it was early 2000s.
Yeah, you've been around a
Yeah.
long time. You guys have been in the game for a very long time. I know that.
Yeah, I mean, Dana's been making backpacks long before I was even alive. But Mystery Ranch is, yeah, and I could look that up for you. But it's early 2000s. It's all global war on terror type stuff. And so he starts supplying those guys, and we became a SOCOM resource, is the best way to put it. SOCOM would come to Mystery Ranch and say, "Hey, we got this new radio. It's this big. It's awkward. It's dumb. There's a cable coming out here. There's a rocket pod coming out. We got to carry two." make us something. And that was his passion, was supplying those guys and making backpacks for them. Now, when he stood that back up, of course, everyone found out he's back in the industry. So the mountaineering crowd wants his stuff again. The ice climbing guys want his stuff again. Well, then the hunting crowd comes to him and says, "Hey, we carry heavy dead shit all over the place, right?" So, can I curse on here?
Yeah, it's okay. I try to keep it minimal, but yes.
All right, minimal. We'll do minimal. So, hey, we carry heavy dead stuff. Can you make us a pack in, subalpine or coyote or foliage or whatever, right? And so that frame never changed too far. It adapted a little bit, like the military packs had standoffs to compensate for body armor, but the general gist in engineering was applicable to all these different activity sets. And so he snowballed it and then built a team around it, and that's where Mystery Ranch as a brand came from. So,
gotcha. And I didn't mean to say that you guys were getting left behind. I meant like you guys came out with a pack this year that I feel like is just like very competitive with everything that everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
It's like very in my mind, and I could be wrong. Like I think you guys make phenomenal packs, but like there's a lot of pockets, a lot of stuff going on in there that was kind of like not my style. Like it's just too many zippers for me, too much stuff. And this new one is just kind of my style. But maybe that's what I mean. Like you guys made a backpack for me this year is what I mean. So I really like what you're doing. So, right. I mean, you guys did make a big switch in your pack this year, correct?
So it's interesting. Mystery Ranch the goal was never to be ultra light. It wasn't really a care. The goal was to be incredibly durable and sustainable,
Yes.
and never have an issue. So when that's your focus, you're not necessarily exploring the lightest, newest fabric. You're testing a buckle to make sure that it can, be used X amount of times, support X amount of weight, be crushed in a tailgate X amount of times, right? Dropped out of a helicopter, all the stuff that, and it was never about ultralight. Then the industry went ultralight. So to your point, yes, we had to react. And of course, like no one's trying to make things any heavier. We're trying to carry and distribute weight, but no one's trying to make things any heavier than they have to be. But there's that game there, because when you go ultralight, obviously you sacrifice something. And then to your pocket point, it's really interesting. We made a pack called the Selway, which by definition had less pocketry than the Metcalf. Now, I guess it had technically had the same number of pockets, and it honestly didn't sell that well. It was the lightest pack we made at the time for years. It was the lightest pack we made at the time. It was in the Mystery Ranch Tri-Zip, which, a lot of people, it wasn't in the Tri-Zip. People just it didn't go. It just never went. And it was the lightest. It was the simplest. Didn't have a lot of pockets. And it's very close to this year's Metcalf, like on paper from a feature set. And it never went anywhere. Whereas this Metcalf, and it is slightly lighter, it's on an updated frame, which has better features than the Selway and the frame that it was on. But it was just interesting how we had a lightweight pack, lightweight compared to the rest of our line. It didn't do much of anything. Like, I don't know if you know Trail at Go Hunt. Trail used to be like, dude, it's the greatest pack you guys have ever made. Why doesn't it wouldn't sell for them either? And so it's kind of interesting. Well, then the focus went ultralight, and we made an ultralight pack within our use and our testing standard, which is not necessarily, the ultralight backpacker standard. We were looking for more durability because we are going to put tripods and everything else in it. And dead weight and bone, and it's going to be outside, and so it's going to get abused, and so within our
go through freaking bushes and trees and brush and Zanita in Arizona and all that stuff.
Who's nice to their backpack? If you're nice to your backpack, you're not having very much fun.
Dude,
so
I abuse mine.
Yeah. So that's where the Metcalf came from this year. The revamp on the new ultralight MT frame, which the frame got. Can I roll into specs? You good with that?
Yeah, let's do specs, and I do appreciate that you guys kept it the Metcalf. Like you just it's like the F-150's been F-150 forever. The Metcalf has kind of been your flagship hunting backpack. And now you guys have just like revamped the Metcalf, which I like and I appreciate. You got a name that everyone trusts. Like I trust the Metcalf. I know if I'm getting that's a good hunting pack. Before we go into specs, really, who is this pack for? Like, who is this for? Before we do that,
sure. Definitely for the obviously Western hunter. The Western hunter who values the correct balance, from our view, of weight, durability, organization, and size.
Okay.
So who the, and you'll see when we get into it, there's three different sizes. So we have everything covered from the day hunter to what you could call an expedition or backcountry hunter that
Mhm.
may need, 6, 7, maybe 8 days in it. So there's different sizing.
Okay, so specs. I guess we start with the frame. You got to go with the frame. Tell me about this frame. What's so cool about it? What materials are
Yeah.
used?
Yeah. So ultralight MT frame, carbon construction with nylon.
Carbon. Oh, bitchin'.
The actual rods and stays, so vertical and horizontal stays and rods are a carbon material. But the frame, and this frame was released January 1st, 2024. The frame got taller and the load lifters became adjustable. So our old frames were a fixed height and the load lifters were sewn at the top of the frame. And the goal was always to have a 45-degree angle coming from the top of the frame down to your shoulder, right? So that we can distribute your weight properly. Well, that's really hard to do when you talk about different torso lengths. You and I don't know what you are. I'm 6'1", 205, or a 34-inch jean. I'm a pretty standard torso length. Whereas somebody like Brady Miller, who's effectively a giraffe, right? Brady's torso is ridiculous. Well, in order to get Brady a 45-degree angle, we needed, and folks that are effectively tall and skinny is what it comes down to. We
Mhm.
needed the adjustable load lifter. And so now there's multiple places you can change that load lifter on the frame. The frame got taller. And then we moved the overload shelf, which is our key feature. That's our biggest feature. And Mr. Ranch was the first one to bring it to the hunting market, by the way. Controversial, but I'm going to say it. We moved that load shelf up. So now the weight is kind of above the belt line, and you don't have
Okay.
that ability to sag and pull backwards, which is a safety problem, especially in, like Alaska and places with shale where you're on these little trails. That weight being low and shifting, not only is that bad for your body, but it can become a safety issue too. So
Yeah.
getting it up high and getting it tighter was a huge deal, and this frame accomplishes that. On top of just, we found modern ways to make it, lighter, new materials, new manufacturing capability, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
So
that's the kind of the frame.
a few things on that. I like a taller frame for multiple reasons, especially for carrying meat. I just like a taller frame. Feel like why not have it there? It's just better. And then on the load shelf being a little bit higher, I really like that because there is we've all gone for a ride. Like when you have an elk on your back, and you just turn the wrong, you just go for a ride. Like you fall. It's like as long as you don't get hurt, you're laughing because it's just it just sucks. You're with your buddy. You're fault. But when if you just sometimes you make the wrong turn and that just weight. So when you get 100 pounds of momentum going one way, you just go for a ride. So packability, or I don't know, meatability, we would call it meatability. I don't know what you're going to call it. Like loadability, I guess, is is crucial. Just strapping, just like the old days of just throwing a freaking bunch of meat in your back inside of a backpack, long gone, where that thing's just flopping everywhere. So you're saying you've moved that load shelf up. Is that adjustable or is it just talk about that?
Based on how tight you make it, technically you could shift the load shelf forward and back, or excuse me, up and down, just based on the sag of the shelf itself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I wouldn't say that the load shelf by definition is like, you're not gonna take it off and put it somewhere else. It's a piece of canvas on nylon straps that you can adjust, and you could make it ride lower or higher. And then
So
obviously
it's not on the bottom of it's not on the bottom of the backpack. Is my point. Like it's not all the way at the
no,
bottom, which is
no, it's up
very
in
common.
your,
Which is the
yeah,
only thing I'm
no, it's
used to.
up above your belt line.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's a cool feature that I haven't seen before. So you can actually bring it
Yeah.
up higher. I like that because yeah, you're kind of carrying it like mid butt typically, and it's sagging down because the weight kind of gets in there and it
No.
kind of sags down. The pack pulls back. As hard as you try and strap something down to a quarter, there's no fun way to carry an elk. We all can agree. I don't care what backpack you have. I did see a Instagram thing where a guy took a helium balloon the other day and tied it to his backpack and made it lighter, and that was kind of intriguing. But we don't have helium in the backcountry with us though. But it was like a 4 foot round balloon. It was pretty cool. But that's intriguing. So your load shelf so it attaches to the frame, and then I assume it attaches like 6 inches up on the backpack, not the bottom of the backpack or something.
Correct. And there's actually
Wow.
straps on the frame so you can tighten and loose it. Which, that tightening and loosing it does move your load shelf up and down, but more so it's meant for like if you were to stack 2 quarters, then it's effectively changing the space between your bag and the frame to give you more or less carriage, right? Because the volume of
Mhm.
the bag moves out. We put the meat in between the frame and the bag. So that and we've always been higher than most load shelves, but this is higher than we've ever gone, and it carries incredible. I had put
Really?
six. I think I put 6 bowls in one of those last year, helping buddies around town and my own hunts and stuff. And it's way better than our old pack, and our old pack carried really well. So it's pretty cool.
Oh, I'm intrigued now. I'm very
Yeah.
intrigued. That sounds really cool. All right, and now on the frame itself, is that carbon fiber new this year, or something you guys have been doing in the past?
No, we've used carbon rods and stays for a long time.
Okay,
The whole frame isn't carbon fiber. It stays strategically sewed and engineered into the frame itself. So it's not like a one piece carbon, flexible frame by definition. It's carbon stays strategically sewn appropriately, I guess would be
okay.
the
What stick?
non-engineering term. And Alex Rich will see this and call me and be like, "Dude, you sound like a dipshit." But he can have a better way of telling you that. But there's carbon stays in there.
What stick to the frame? There's a lot more going on with this thing.
Yep.
Um, Shoulder straps and belt. What are we going on there?
Yeah, so that's another thing that is a big deal with our pack is adjustability. So our yoke is completely adjustable within a range. So our packs are bought kind of like you buy a t-shirt, small, medium, and large. And within the pack, within the yoke, there's a ton of adjustability for the vertical, for the length of the torso, so that you can properly tune that pack. So like you've seen people carrying stuff out, and there's like
Mhm.
a giant loop between their shoulder strap, and you can stick an arm through, and it's like, dude, there's no way that bag's carrying well for you. So our pack is completely adjustable in that way. Obviously, within the waist belt as well, there's a ton of adjustability just as far as the tightness. But the small, medium, and large waist belts are effectively just how much foam is on the wings that makes it sit on your hips, and then obviously how long the belt straps are. So there's not like adjustability in the belt to necessarily make it like more or less padded. There's no removability there. But in the shoulder straps and the yoke, there's a ton of adjustability up and down to ensure that the shoulder straps sit perfectly on the shoulder for that individual. And then when you're talking about the harnessing, we're also, as far as I know, the only major backpack company in the hunting space making women's harnessing. So Mr. Ranch actually paid a lot of females, which is a weird Craigslist ad, like, "Hey, females wanted, we want to measure you." But they did, and they brought them into the Bozeman warehouse, and our engineering team, product development team, measured all these women and made harnessing that's appropriate and form fitting for the female figure that also bears weight properly. So that's a huge deal for us as a brand to offer and support the female Western hunter.
That's really cool. That's really cool. I have a few women who work for Tricer as influencers and do things, and just there's a few out there that are really out there pushing it hard and hunting hard, and I really appreciate them. Um, all right, so get your bag. So we go from that. No, when you say yoke, adjustable yoke, I want to hear about that. Is that kind of like a typical? Because that's not something new. Just maybe to do the hunting space, but not in backpacking. Because I came from backpacking, right? So you can adjust. So are you saying you can like undo some Velcro and move that thing up and then re-Velcro it or something and like slide
Correct.
that? Oh, see, that's bitching. Because right
Yeah.
now it's like most companies are like, we have a large frame and a small frame, or a medium frame and a large frame, and that's it. And like you get it, you get, it, and you don't throw a fit. So you can actually
Nope.
move. Can you move the shoulder straps as well, or just the yoke?
The straps in the back panel move up and down together. So
Okay.
there's actually a tool. It's actually a load distributing part of our pack too. That tool comes out of a sleeve, and then you push it back down another sleeve, and it breaks the Velcro. And then the shoulder straps and the back piece move up. Then you reattach the Velcro, put the tool back behind it. When you push the tool in, it readheres this Velcro, and you're off to the races. And it's embossed too, so you can tell kind of where your measurements are, and you can mark it. And I don't know if you were sharing a pack with a buddy, you can have two adjustments. There's options there, I guess, but it's got a visual kind of scale so you can tell where you're at.
Yeah, I don't want to share my backpack with anybody. So
Yeah.
that's weird. I
No,
sweat
but
too
but I
much, and I
will
don't want
tell
to
you
share.
when I put in like I'm a I'm a walk out once guy. So I'm a like, hey, I'll take a front and rear elk quarter. You take a front and rear elk quarter. One guy takes a head and a cape, and we're going. And when I put that much weight in a pack, I like to collapse my frame just a little bit. And so having a sub 100 pound mark and a over 100 pound mark has been really nice as far as knowing on that little scale. So something I use it for personally.
Yeah, that's slick. Yeah, I'm not that guy. I believe an elk is a 4 pack out job, meaning
Mm-hmm.
once in, once out, once in, once out with 2 guys. With 2 guys, it's going to be 2 trips. I like doing rear quarters out, come back in, front quarters, back straps, whatever doesn't mean out. Um, that's a lot of weight, dude. You're tougher than me. I don't know. Maybe as I get older, if I was younger, maybe, but I just a lot of weight, man. That's cool that you're doing that pack
You know,
though.
and look, that's situational, right? If I know where, if it's flatter, then I mean, if I,
Yeah,
I'm
maybe if
looking at
it's
it now,
flat.
like I'm not walking up that with 2 quarters. Let me be perfectly honest. So,
Yeah. And I
yeah.
have done some stuff where I'll do leapfrogging too. I'll leapfrog out, come back, leapfrog because you get that weight off of you. Because I mean, we've shot some elk in some stupid places, and it
Mm-hmm.
just sucks. Elk are the worst and the best. They're the best afterwards. In the moment, they're the worst.
Yeah.
But it's fun when you're with somebody.
It builds good
Um,
friendships. Yeah,
it
you'll
builds
find
good. You
out who your
find out who your
friends
friends
are
are.
and who's tough
Mhm.
for sure. Yeah.
Really quick, my friends are. Okay, so we got the preg. Now, do you also on the we stick to the frame, I guess, on the hip belt? Don't you have zippers sewn into the hip belt itself? Not even actually like there's zippers on the hip belt on your old, is that on this back as well?
No. So years and years ago, we had a few packs that had a built-in pocket, and the feedback from the consumer was we'd rather have it removable and
Removable.
modular. So
Okay.
now we just have real thin moly webbing, effectively,
Mm,
and we sell pockets in multiple sizes and water bottle pockets and bear spray pockets and all that stuff. So a lot of our
gotcha.
outdoor packs, like the hiking stuff, a lot of that still has built-in zippers, just like a power bar and headlamp
Yep.
type pocket. But the
Hmm.
hunting packs are all Molly now, just so that they're modular. Guy wants to put a holster, fixed blade, whatever it is, med kit. You have at it. Here you go. So
Yeah, I like the modularity of a pack. I don't like to be locked into something. So,
yeah.
all right. So we've gone through I think it's pretty much covers the frame.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you kind of, I don't even know if it's hit on. Do you, before we go to pack, do I hit on load capacity, weight and carrying weight?
Sure. Yeah.
You kind of hit
Mystery
on it by
Ranch
saying you
doesn't.
carry 2 corners out, but go ahead.
Yeah, we don't put out a number, so we don't say like, hey, you can only put 60 pounds in this pack. Um, you're going to get to a point where your body isn't going to carry when that pack gets to that point too. I'll tell you, I've done demos at retailers, and Mr. Ranch isn't going to like hearing this, but I have, where I've had a guy walk up and say, there's no way that thing can carry 80 pounds when he's looking at it and feeling how light it is with the new pack and all. And I put that guy's son in my pack, and he was a 16-year-old kid. So what's a 16-year-old kid weigh? 130 pounds, 140 pounds, I mean, I strapped that kid facing backwards like a baby and put him on and walked around the showroom. And that gentleman bought a pack, which is
Nice.
cool. But so, we do 2 quarter carryouts quite a bit. You can do the math on where that is.
That's over
I've only
130
ever
pounds.
seen it's a lot. Yeah, I mean, we'll pull. We obviously are cutting hooves and cutting at the knee and doing everything we can, but we're not like full deboning. We're because like you said, elk die in the dumbest places at the dumbest times, right? It's either
Mhm.
8 o'clock in the morning or 11:30 at night when you're putting that heavy weight on. What's one or the other? So
Yeah.
um, it's just
Yeah.
one of those things. So
I
we don't give a
deboned,
call out though.
I deboned one where we had like an 8 mile pack out, but like, I kind of feel like it's such a job just to get, and I deboned 2 of them. I take that back. Uh, it's such a job just to process them. And you have so much for
Mhm.
it's like I just like I don't care, just throw it in, bone in, and we'll do it later. Like it's a like, dude, you're tired just processing it. Then deboning them isn't easy either. It's not like you just do it in 5 minutes. It takes time. There's a lot of meat there. It's just so it's just adding a whole another hour. I mean, at least for me, I'm not doing it quick. Another hour or so to my job. I'm just like just throw it in, bone in, cut it at the joint. To take it out the
Mhm.
hip joint, take it out the knee, and then store it in the pack and go.
And dude, if you're doing it in an hour, you're doing it fast. I mean, to do it clean and all. I mean, I'm not deboning an elk in an hour in the field clean. So good
Yeah.
for you. But I also just don't do it. I cut them at the knee and go. drink some water, be quiet, and put your head down and go.
That is that is the most sad when you break a knee on an elk or a deer, like that's the coolest sound, like that, like just
Yeah,
cracking there. I mean, that is
yeah,
a
can be
savage
loud
sound that there's a reason why the world's full of such sissy men right now. Like if you have guys go and do that, they'd respect where their meat came from a lot more. Breaking a
for
knee
sure.
off and spin a sucker around and throw it in the bushes. Um, all right, so we kind of covered you're carrying a bunch of weight. It'll handle more than your body can. It'll fail before you'll fail before it does.
That, yeah, I mean that's not Miss Your Inch's stance, but I mean that's the way we're building them, right? And that's again like why we never got or did not never, but why it took so long to get into the quote unquote ultralight category because our goal was that our goal was for you to break first, without saying it. That's been the goal for a long time because that means that the guy that's jumping out of an airplane or carrying a mortar tube or carrying an elk is not in a position to be negatively impacted by our product, by an inanimate object that just needs to work all the time, just needs to work. That's it. And so that's why we've built them to just work. And that's not necessarily an ultralight characteristic until now, right? Modern manufacturing, modern material, modern engineering, computer programs, it obviously all that stuff aids. As you know, you guys are in manufacturing. That stuff all aids in being able to put a better product out. So
All right, let's get into the packs. You got three of them, all Metcalfs, three different sizes. Do they all work on the same? Can I buy three packs on the one frame?
So we don't sell the packs individually at this time. It's being talked about. It's always kind of a controversial thing. We've done it in the past where there's a frame and multiple packs you can buy for that frame. Again, as you know, in manufacturing, it's hard to have that inventory available for that consumer at the time they need it, and it's a complicated deal. So right now we sell a bag on a frame. In the Metcalf series. So there's three packs. There's a 50-liter pack, a 75-liter pack, and a 100-liter pack.
What is
And
that in
there's
cubic
four.
inches? Sorry.
I have it here, so forgive me. I'm going to look down because I go off of liters.
I feel like
The
hunting packs
100
are like
liters,
cubic inches. So go ahead.
yeah. So the 100 liters is 6,100. The 75 is a 4575, and the 50 is a 3,050. So if you like
Okay.
cubic inches, there's those numbers.
Yeah, that middle one would
Um,
probably fit most of my bills. Honestly, that's kind of like the size. 45, 75 is like or 47, whatever. 50 is a number that you really could do 5-day hunts on pretty easily, maybe more. I mean, that big one, that's an expedition pack.
it's a lot of pack, and what's cool about the Metcalf too, it's got two other things going for it. It's a roll top hauler type pack. So the 75 liter or the 50 liter is measured to a fully, I won't say fully collapsed, like as tight as you can get it, but it's also not measured at an all the way open. So that 75 is truthfully more than 75, and you can get things in it like a sleeping bag or something lightweight on top, puffy jacket. You can gain that volume going vertical within those packs, which is cool. Like and I'm a huge fan of the 50. I've done 4-day hunts out of the 50 and
Mhm.
had more than I was more than comfortable. Um, it depends. It depends on your style of hunting. There's guys that have to take bagels in the backcountry. There's guys that ration every calorie and are like, I'm only So it depends on who you are and what you're doing. But and then they all have a removable lid too. So there's added volume in the lid. Great for med kit, gloves, hat, all the small stuff. So there's a lot of versatility in those sizes, depending on your style of hunting for sure.
All right, so three sizes: 3,500, 4,750, 6,100. I'm doing cubic inches. I feel like it's kind of like I don't know. I don't know why hunting backpacks are a lot of them are cubic inches. A lot of and then liters. I feel like I associate that with backpacking, but we'll stick with inches because it just fits what I'm doing right now in this series.
Sure.
They're a bitch in color, by the way. I love this like kind of this like old school green looking color. They're pretty slick looking. What's the material?
Yeah. It should be 330D on those. That Ponderosa color, you got me on the color when you said that, so forgive me for stuttering on the material, but that Ponderosa color has been super super well received. We were back and forth on that for a while, and we put out that buckskin color too, which is kind of a coyote with a black accent, which has been super well received also. But Ponderosa is selling and being talked about weight nuclear levels compared to the other three colorways. I mean, subalpine, obviously great pattern, been around a long time. Foliage, great colorway, been around a long time. It's not even close. The Ponderosa color, that green you just talked about with the tan straps, is a sexy
Dude,
package for
and
sure.
you guys just came out with it, and I know Kuya came out with almost the same color, but you guys came out with it first. You guys were like ahead of the game on it, dude. You guys got him. And I was like, oh,
Like a
Michigan Scouts
day.
on that
Yeah,
one.
same
Same
year,
year.
same season. Yeah, it was like a day. We put I think they came like January 2nd, and technically we launched January 1. Um, I,
Did you guys know
whatever.
they're saying you
Same
guys
thing.
know you're having the
Same
same
thing.
colors or no?
I mean, I wasn't aware, but I'm far removed from product development. I mean, I don't know if those guys knew or not. That thing has been sewn up like that for a long time. It was just waiting on the right season, the right frame, the right pack time to launch it. So it's not, you know, I don't know. I can't answer it
Yeah.
by
I
definition,
like
but
the look of
it
it.
caught
I
me
feel
off
like
guard.
yeah. I feel like I like the I feel like so long it's been like coyote or olive drab, and that's it. Maybe some
Mm-hmm.
camo pattern. And like you guys coming out with this is like, oh, it looks like a sexy pack, which I like about it. So you
Yeah.
got it. So you're an ultralight material, but
Yeah.
also
No,
very durable, correct?
super durable. Yeah. So our endurance testing is incredibly extensive, and I could detail that out for you, but the moral of the story being, there's a very, very vigorous abrasion test. There's a ton of strength testing done between the overload shelf, the frame itself, and then the compression strap system that's all the way up and down the bag, and the buckle selection. I mean, you talk to some of our team, and I hate to say that it gets like really dorky, but man, the amount of like PSI numbers and stuff that float around, and abrasion testing, the grinder used, and all this stuff, and you're like, man, like it's pretty darn technical. So yeah, they had a threshold they were willing to go as far as ultralight, but the durability is not it was not up for debate to be compromised, and our guys did a great job with this thing for sure.
I do want to stick to the packs, but one thing you said a couple of things that are kind of intriguing. You talk about like computer programs, talk about testing, all this stuff. You guys are a bigger player in the industry, a bigger company. Now you actually just got purchased by Yeti. So you guys
Mhm.
have like and I'm not there's like every backpack company coming on this thing is building phenomenal packs. Like no one I would carry any of these packs like these guys I'm talking to. Wouldn't have them on here if I wouldn't. But like you guys have the ability to do a little more testing than other companies have. You have a little more technology than other companies do. Some of these smaller guys. That's got to be a benefit for you. Like even like talking about, we brought in 50 women to measure. Like you guys are able to do some stuff that other guys aren't. And be a little more scientific about it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way around it. I'm not in the business of like talking down about anybody's packs. Not that you are, we're implying that or anything, but I'm not gonna. I don't know everyone's capability, and I'm not gonna, be like, hey, this is. It's just not a good way to do business, and there's a lot of packs out there that are made really, really well that for the right scenario are the right option. So, but yes, we do rely on a core team that is very technology focused, and the Yeti acquisition is new for sure. So I can't speak to it a ton. I mean, it literally just happened, and it's far, far outside of my rank and wheelhouse as just a territory guy. But I'm excited to see what having those guys behind or us on their team or however you want to say it. I think it can only be good. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah. Just don't make your packs as heavy as their damn coolers and you'll be good to go.
Yeah,
So that's
I
cool.
don't see that. I don't see that happening.
That is cool though that you guys have the ability to have like you are technology focused and you are using stuff like some scientific stuff there and some testing there. It is good to hear that and putting some more thought into it than just like let's make a backpack and try it because there
Right.
is like even having the modularity like to move the frame up and down and something that's a big deal that you're not seeing everywhere. Because like yes, there are certain packs out there that are phenomenal for me, but maybe not for you, right? And maybe I'll have that modularity there and test that and kind of make a more well-rounded pack versus like let's make a pack that fits me really good that I'll sell it to everybody is really cool.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, and optics are like that too. I mean, there's anatomy involved in these things in this product. Like, there's not you can't anybody that's willing to say like this is the end all be all product. It's a foolish thing to stand on. It's just a foolish thing to stand on. There's very specific situations that we all encounter, and some products are going to outperform in those situations. All you can do is try to make it hit as many boxes as you can. you know.
Yep.
So
All right, so back to this pack. So we've got the material down. It's got the roll top. It's got the removable lid on it. So that lid's removable. You said correct. So you can
yeah,
run if you
yeah, the
want to.
lid can come off. You can ditch the lid, which is
Hmm.
nice. We also sell an accessory that clips right onto this pack. It's called the Ultralight um, lid, which has backpack straps built in. So you can take the lid off it that comes with the Metcalf. You can put this one on, and it can effectively become like a summit pack or a stalking pack. If you were hunting right out of a backcountry camp and you were just slamming, water, power bar, whatever, real quick, and it's effectively just those two tubes with backpack straps on them. So there's some options within the line to use just be a little bit more modular, depending on where you're going.
All right, let's talk about packability. I've been very clear with everybody that I'm not a big fan of a bunch of zippers. I want to put the zippers where I want them. I want to put the storage where I want it. Let's talk about that on this pack.
Yeah, so being a roll top, that roll top obviously exposes the cavity. And inside that cavity, there's only a hydration sleeve.
Mhm.
There are two orange, very tiny loops, which actually I'll show you, are about this size. I'm going to talk
Okay.
to you about this pack here in a second. But internally on the Metcalf, there's some loops like this. And we make an accessory bag that clips onto these. So you could have a little hygiene kit or med kit or, whatever, electronics, whatever it is. That's really the internal of that thing. There's a hydration reservoir with a hydration hanger. That's all that's going on inside that bag, and that's accessible by the roll top. On the side, there's one zipper. So if you did want to lay your pack on the side and get to your puffy that you remembered was in the bottom, you have an option instead of doing the death dig or dumping the whole thing out, right?
So it's
So
one zipper, not the whole
that's
front.
all that's going on. That's right down the side.
On the side,
So
really, not on the side of the pack, not the top of the pack.
I don't know if this is going to be a great way of showing you, but here's a Metcalf.
Oh,
So
yeah.
this lid is the removable lid. You got two buckles that would fold up and back out of the way, and then
Okay.
there's two more attachment points on the back. Once that lid's out of the way, the roll top hauler is exposed. One buckle, it unrolls up and opens a giant cavity, and then you can see the side zipper where you could access it through the side if you wanted to.
That's different. Why on the
Yeah.
side? I never seen that. Why the zipper on the side, not on the front?
Because when you lay a pack on its frame, it's wonky and crushing everything else. When you lay it on its side, you can get to the entire contents strategically and sturdy, right? It's going to lay there and it's going to hold, and then you can get in there very easily. But you're maintaining a ton of strength there because these straps take all that load. This zipper is under next to no stress at all. So from a longevity standpoint, you're just increasing your capability. um, that zipper doesn't see very much stress at all, which is cool.
So, what about externally? Where am I put my tripod on that thing?
So there's some stretch woven pockets on the sides. So you could put legs in there and these straps would hold on to your legs.
Would I still be able to access the zipper when the
There's
tripod strapped to the side?
Yeah, because you would just end up putting the tripod on this side, leaving the
Okay, so you
zipper side
kind of
open.
have the opposite side of the zipper. Whatever
Yeah,
you're
you
running.
could, or I mean, the tripod by definition would ride behind the zipper. If you can see that pocket
That's
ends
what I
right
was
here.
wondering. Yeah.
So the tripod would be in this area, and the zipper is more toward the outside of the pack. So you would be okay. I would put it on the other side personally. Obviously, completely up to you. The pockets on both sides. There's no difference there. And then if you were moving place to place quickly, you could just drop a leg through the compression straps on the front. But depending on how far you're going, what you're doing, you got those options. So sorry for the
Okay.
show and tell in the catalog, but I think it's
No, I
working.
like the catalog. I need to see it. I mean, yeah, yeah, I need to see that stuff. I need to know what I'm talking about. I like that. So that makes more sense. So the zipper, if, for everyone listening, isn't necessarily on the side. It's kind of like on the side front. So like it's not necessarily like right down like where your water bottle, your stuff would be on the side of it. It's like it's forward, like it looks like 6 to 8 inches off. So it's kind of like your still stuff would be behind it, and then you can open it up. Okay, that makes sense. Um, now what about is there any kind of pockets on the outside of it aside for those two side pockets?
No, besides the lid and those side pockets, no. So you're very very slim. You're very quick. There's no snagging. There's no. And I find too all those exterior pockets. I feel like they just get all the garbage that we don't.
Yep,
You don't
100%.
have to have, So it's really nice having a slick outside for sure.
Yeah, it looks like it this is kinda like for me with Mr. Ranch, like, this is like a different it's maybe I just had this false perception of what Mr. Ranch's packs were. This looks like a kind of a pivot from where you've been in packs, something very simple, and I really like it. I like simple things. I really like what you're doing with this pack. I like where you're going with it.
Yeah, I don't know. So there's certainly packs we've made that have had some exterior pocketry, but truthfully, most of our packs have been pretty minimalistic. The tri-zip design that Dana's been making forever is a very minimalistic zero exterior. The military asks for a lot of exterior stuff because of quick access to med and ammo resupply and all that stuff, radio pouches, and they like hard mounted exterior pockets. But our hunting packs, for the very large majority, have not had anything
They're
exterior
more simple.
I've been with them for close to a decade, and it's been real simple, and a lot of interior simplicity too. We make the organizational cubes. We call them Zoid cubes and Zoid bags, all that stuff. So we've always been, or at least for the last 7-8 years, we've been pretty heavy in pack simplicity and then internal organization based on like just little, like this is just my briefcase one, but we make little stuff like this, right? This
Yep.
carries all my cables and all my office crap on the road because I live on the road. But we've made a lot of that stuff for a lot of years that helps with internal organization if you want it, but it's not there if you don't. So
That's good. I like that a lot. So maybe I was just naive. Um, so you have the cubes to go inside of it. We've talked about the top, talked about that. What about rifle carry? I know you guys have a bitchin' rifle system, like a really slick system, right? So let's talk about that.
mm-hmm. Yeah, so we have effectively a quick disconnect rifle sling. There's a small little piece that goes on your shoulder strap, and then on your rifle sling, there's one other piece. Let me grab. It's actually this magnet system, which is on our briefcase too. But one half of this is on your rifle sling, and one half is on your backpack, and this just locks in. And then there's
Is it,
on
is it a
on the
magnet?
sling, it's
Is it a magnet?
the way it clicks in. Yep.
Oh wow, that's slick.
Yep. So when you pull it tight and it holds the rifle tight against your body, you grab one little tab, which on the sling is orange, so that you can find it. But
Oh wow.
it just comes off that way. So that works. That works well. If you wanted to put the rifle on the pack, you do it the same way we talked on the tripod, in that stretch woven pocket. Wrap a compression strap around it, and you're off to the races for sure.
What about a bow?
Most people carry a bow on the face. There's a plethora of straps, and the packs come with extra compression straps as well that allow for, and as you can see on the face, there's a ton of adjustability and webbing all the way up and down. So you can move the straps up and down and compress properly based on whatever riser or tripod or, whatever it is you're trying to strap on. If that does you justice, if you can see
I see
that.
it. I see it there. Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
cool. So you're
tons of
strapping
options there.
when he says face, he means the like the side you would see if you're backpacking, you would see that on someone's back. Like the back side of the backpack would be the face.
Mm-hmm.
So you strap your bow right to that.
Yeah,
Okay.
so there's webbing running completely north and south on the pack to give you anything you wanted to do, as far as running a strap through or.
Where's the hydration
Optional.
pod? Is it on the side of the pack or the back of the backpack?
It's on the interior against the back panel, so right on the other
Okay.
side of your body, and there's
Yep.
obviously a hole for a tube to come through. Yep, and then there's a hanger. Which I had.
Yeah, it is a simple, normal.
I'll probably show you if you. Let me hit on this real quick, since it's sitting here. This is the Gravelly 18, which is an auxiliary pack for the new ultralight frame. So you could take let's say we're talking about the 75 that you like. You could take the 75 off. So if you're scouting, shed hunting, maybe just camping, hiking with the family, whatever, you don't want to carry a 75. This 18-liter bag through these orange loops would go right onto the new ultralight MT frame, which is rad. But this pack also still has a load shelf. So this load shelf would thread right into the frame.
Okay.
Right? Now, it's a little bit lower than the one on the Metcalf bag. This isn't necessarily meant to be the load hauler, although it will do that for sure. But this is an auxiliary pack that can be configured onto that same frame. So if you buy a new Metcalf, I'm sorry?
There's modularity there. You can get something else.
Yeah, smaller. Scouting pack, yeah, just awesome. But it's a standalone backpack. So it has its own collapsible backpack straps. So you could wear this just as a backpack. I mean, you could wear it to SHOT Show if you wanted to. You could wear it on a business trip. You could wear it at Disneyland. But it also hooks to that frame, gives you the adjustable yoke, everything, use the same frame. Will still pack out just as well. But just so you know, there's some modularity there within the line.
So what now?
So.
Would you want to potentially run that in between your 7500 and the frame and bring it in without anything inside of it, and then drop your 7500 off? Is that how hard is that to do that? Drop that thing off and run that one. And so you back in 10 miles.
Four buckles and two threading pieces of nylon
So
for
you
the
could do
large
that.
helmet.
So you could
Simple.
bring your whole pack in, drop your whole pack, go to that small pack for the rest of the trip, still carry an elk out in it or carry a deer out in it, and have a much smaller pack. That's kind of cool.
And what you can also do is you can hard mount this to the frame, or you can use these G hooks and hook this bag to the outside of the Metcalf. Now, I wouldn't
Okay.
be putting a ton of weight in this because that's not necessarily how it's engineered to be. But you could carry all your cold weather gear. Like if you were going in heavy, I'd probably go in heavy with water on the overload, not take it up with this. And I'd
Yeah.
have like all my cold weather gear in here and strap this thing to the outside. And it's designed to very quickly hook that way. So there's just a ton of options there. So that's the Gravelly 18. That is a pack that is a standalone backpack, but specific accessory to the new ultralight MT frame.
That's bitching. All right, so let's do we're gonna get into a hunting story here in a minute. We're wrapping this thing up. Let's get some specs. How much does it cost? What am I paying to buy one of these packs?
I think right around 550. That's a question a sales rep should
Oh,
know, but top of my head, 550.
that's not bad at
Yeah,
all.
depending on the colorway. So obviously, subalpine. There's a, as you can imagine, a licensing agreement, right? So subalpine's always going to be more expensive. Our parent colors are, I believe, that pack's 550 on the shelf. It's always hard, you send an MSRP and then there's a sale price, so should be right in that ballpark.
Well, if you're buying
Sub
the pack,
600.
you should be buying that. What is that color? Spruce. What's the color that I like? What color is that one I like?
The Ponderosa, the green.
If you're buying a pack, you should buy the Ponderosa. It's the only pack you should be buying because it's bitching. That's a cool looking pack. It just reminds me of like some like old school bitching looking packs. If you're buying a Mystery Ranch pack right now, at least me, I'm buying the Ponderosa all day long. It just looks really good. So it's $550. That's not bad. Is that $550 across the board from all the packs, or is there? I'm sure it goes up a little bit more
Yeah,
for some of the same
they're all
in
give
that
or, yeah,
range.
they're all going to be give
For
or,
five
give or take
five to $600
right
bucks,
there.
$500 to $600 for one of these packs. And a lot of times they're on, I mean, especially the Go Hunt. I mean, they run some pretty sweet sales on your stuff. You can go get one probably for under $500.
Yeah, so it'll depend on the retailer, what sale they're running. It's hard in the outdoor industry, right? There's always trying to control sales and protect
Yep.
your brand, as you're more than aware of. So this year you're going to see pretty much everybody on sale at the same time. We're just trying to control some of that stuff
We do
and
the
make sure
same
that,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
we do the same
yes,
thing with
there's
the
some pretty
retailers.
aggressive sales. The retailers are important to us. So there's good partnerships there, and there's some pretty aggressive stuff going throughout the year. So yeah.
Sweet. Okay, so what about weight? What do these things weigh?
The 100 is right at 5.1. The 75, I'll get you a number on just so I'm reading it right.
5.1.
4.57.
So
Yeah,
how much
on
is
the
the
100 liter.
how much does it weigh?
The
100
100,
liter? Yeah.
5.1. Yeah.
Wow.
The
That's impressive.
75 is 4.57, and the 50 is 4.28.
Wow.
So
That's impressive.
now,
That's a light backpack.
so we call that the stripped weight, which is minus any auxiliary buckles that you don't need unless you're doing something insane. So if you're putting two tripods on the outside and you use the extra whole strap kit that comes with it, you're going to add weight there. So the base weight minus those buckle systems, I guess, is the
Does that
weight that I'm
include
quoting. Just to be.
does that include the top compartment, the lid?
Mhm.
That
Yep.
way? It does. Oh wow. And does every pack come with a lid?
The Metcalfs do. Yeah.
Metcalfs come with a lid. Okay, okay, that's
Yep.
cool. So a lot of times they have to buy it separately, a separate option. So that's cool. So I mean, you're all in
Yeah.
less than $600 for a backpack with a lid, everything, and it weighs 5 pounds. I mean, that's freaking hard to
Yeah,
beat, you
5 or
guys. You
under.
guys did good. That's cool.
Yeah, 5 or under. The only accessory you can do is that ultralight lid is a standalone backpack. So the lid that comes with the Metcalf is not a standalone backpack. It doesn't